Hello, my name is Jared Cohen, and I am a part of the Introduction to Ethics and Philosophy class of Navarro College. And this is my presentation on gun control persuasive speech assignment. And this is an alternative by me, Jared Cohen. What started the whole gun control versus gun right debate? Well, what started the entire thing was not just shootings that would occur in our streets and homes, but also in public places where there are a lot of people present, such as schools, churches, movie theaters, etc. And here's a website that supports that claim. There have been many ways to try and help the situation as best as possible. One of those ways being something called gun control. According to yourdictionary.com/gun control, it is the laws, policies, practices, or proposals designed to restrict or limit the possession, production, importation, shipment, sale, and or use of guns or other firearms by private citizens. While there are mixed opinions on the entire issue of whether people should own guns or not, other than the military, one thing is incredibly clear on both sides. People want to feel as safe as possible without the feeling of looking over your shoulder every 5 to 10 seconds. And with the mindset of always being afraid that you're going to get shot by some random person, it's completely understandable why the pro-GC side, or pro-gun control side, would want to hinder the use of guns. However, the con-GC side of the argument are saying that their weapons could be taken away, which means no self-defense. So which side is a better argument, and how should the situation be approached? Well, let's take a look at this from a third-person perspective. The pro-argument of having gun control laws, Part 1. According to soapboxy.com/social issues/gun control advantages disadvantages, suicide rates can be reduced greatly if stricter gun control laws are passed. Over the years, several studies have shown that in the United States alone, more people commit suicide with guns than with all other methods put together. According to beyondhome.com/pros and cons of gun control, in the countries where there is a complete ban on the possession of guns or proper gun control laws, there is a reduction in the rates of suicides and homicides. Effective gun-related laws restrict the possession of usage of guns. Moreover, gun control laws restrict the right of having gun, ownership, and ammunition to a certain category of people. This will reduce the rate of unintentional shootings, which cause harm to a large number of people. Part 2. According to the honestproscons.com/pros and cons of gun control website, in 114 mass shootings in America, 74% were carried out by shooters who legally owned the firearms. In the process of enacting gun control laws, certain restrictions are imposed when purchasing firearms legally. For instance, gun control laws may require background checks before allowing an individual to own a firearm. According to cuffsmart.com/blog, in the event of a burglary or home invasion, homeowners have at least a fighting chance to defend their property if they own a firearm or a knife or any type of weapon. What the source NPR.org says is that there is a public support for universal background checks for gun purposes, extreme risk protection orders, also called red flag law, gun licensing, assault weapon bans, and bans on high-capacity magazines. Here's the other side, the con arguments. What NRAILA.org has given us, criminals will not obey the gun control laws, which is true. Furthermore, criminals gain access to firearms through illegal channels, and state and federal laws will not deter them. Because of this, background checks have virtually no effect on criminals. According to connectusfund.org/21 biggest pros and cons of gun control laws, 32% of gun owners own this tool primarily for hunting. Therefore, using gun control laws could possibly infringe on the purchasing of hunting rifles, or if they use firearms for activities such as marksmanship competitions. According to NavajoCodeTalker.org, the right to own a weapon to defend yourself, including guns, is a constitutional right, although some restrictions should certainly be in place. If the government is given too much power over these issues, it would be easier for them to take all guns from citizens, potentially violating the Second Amendment of the Constitution or other negative outcomes. Part 2. According to the perspective.com/debates, when the law is meant to protect you, turns you into prey, it is understandable that you would want to take self-defense into your own hands. Even in Chicago, where assault rifles and high-capacity magazines are banned, and where gun shops were banned until 2012, gun control laws are not working. Despite some of the biggest gun restrictions in place, the city suffers from rising gun and gang violence. More on that later. What Soapboxy also says, to add on to the con argument this time, is that the law that prevents ordinary citizens from owning guns can easily grant too much power to governments, again, thereby increasing the likelihood of governments ruling people with tyranny. Which side is more agreement and why? Me personally, I agree with the con side of the argument of gun control for a multitude of reasons, but I'm only going to explain 3. The first reason is simple. Although gun control laws can be effective against having criminals with an abysmal background from owning a firearm, who said that they can't use an alternative form of attack, such as a knife, or any other type of weapon that they're choosing? The second reason is that if the government imposes too much of a law restricting some people to own weapons, again, for a third time, this will eventually give the government too much power if left unchecked. My third and final reason is that while every single shooting that has occurred in the United States alone is indeed tragic, there can also be some benefit to having citizens having access to at least a handgun. Ergo, if a burglar breaks into a home, and they either have a gun themselves or another weapon, the homeowner can use a handgun to either incapacitate the offender or kill them if need be. My conclusion? While gun control laws can be effective, if they're used correctly, they are horrendously flawed for right now and will not always work. This has been my presentation.